shall we go into show and tell? Before we start, we've got a lot of pieces today, especially in the beads of courage. So I'm going to ask everybody as we go through this to be brief. And in the show and tell area, we've got a lot of people who have more than one picture, and that's fine. So try to keep your comments somewhat limited as we go through. So Richard's going to bring up the list, and then he will walk us through the pictures, and I'll make sure that we know the right people. So Dave Fleissig is going to be the first person who's going to comment in our show and tell area. So Dave, your first two pictures are going to come up and tell us about
them. Hi, I'm intrigued with projects that give me the opportunity to use some basic woodworking as well as turning. And I saw an article in the current issue of the AAW magazine called Functional Vase from a Board. And if you zoom in, I don't know if Richard can do that, on the front end of this piece, you can see the joinery. This is made from some pine shelving, 4/4, which means nominally under 3/4 of an inch. And by the time I made it flat, probably closer to 5/8 of an inch. And so the first step was laminating two together so I could get a decent thickness. And then essentially what you do is you build a box, a rectangular box. The hole, it later gets filled with a glass insert that I bought from Amazon. Anyway, move on to the next picture, Richard. Here's the finished project. Essentially, I added a solid disc to the bottom and the top. And although you can't really see it well in this picture, there is a glass insert in this. So this is an example of making approximately a 9-inch long vase from some 3/4 inch, very cheap pine shelving from Home Depot.
Hey, Jim, you're on mute.
No, I was done, so.
Jim, you're on mute. You're muted. There you go.
Interesting. I had a click as well as hold the bar down. Yeah, I didn't realize, Dave, until I had seen this that actually was glued up. So, Gary, what are you showing us from Texas?
If I don't see it yet, oh, here we go. These I really didn't intend to do plywood bowls. I had two big chunks of plywood that I had turned to hold on various items on my lathe, and I don't need them anymore because I had the one-way vacuum system. I was about ready to throw them away, and I says, I'll make them into bowls. So what you're seeing is one project that's been converted into bowls, and that's all I have to say. That's to be short.
That's really great, but I appreciate it. Jay, what's up?
Am I on?
Yes.
Hello.
Sure.
Okay. I went through a period of time when I was spending a lot of time doing Celtic designs and so on some of my carving, and this is a walnut. And for Michael, this is wood from our wood raffle. You'll learn all about the wood raffle, and this is out of a 4-inch cube. So having the ends meet and everything else. I'll talk about that in just a second. Can we have the next picture? This is a Celtic communion set. One year for Christmas, I did communion sets for everybody in the family, and this happens to be a Celtic design. And the next picture, this is a 10-inch bowl with the Celtic weave all the way around. And I highly recommend a book by Laura Irish. It's available at Fox Chapel. It's called The Great Book of Celtic Design. It teaches you how to get the two ends to meet when you get around the other end of the project. So a lot of fun. And I just thought I'd share since this is our Irish month. So that's it.
Thank you very much. Bob?
Hi, everybody. I'm unmuted, but this is a barbecue I said I made. It's from Penn State Industries, and it's the handles I make. And it's a pretty substantial set. I thought it was very nicely designed. It was basically what I did is I made the handles out of camphor wood. I think it was from the school. And I put a bead on it, a small bead on the back of each one. And that was kind of make it a little bit more of a challenge and not as boring. So it's less than $20, and I felt it was a pretty good bargain. So it's nice to have, and I gave it to my nephew for his birthday, so I can go up there for barbecues and get some reward for it. So thank you.
Get well fed for that one. Good. Thanks, Bob. Kim?
Oh, mute. There we go. So I made two 14-inch Norfolk pine platters 2 years ago. I gave this one before the fish were added to my girlfriend in Hawaii. And when she saw mine with fish, she felt I had given her the plain cousin. I told her to bring the platter back to California, and I would give her some koi, which required me to sand down the face. I use Murphy's oil, walnut oil as a finish. So I sanded down the best I could, used a razor tip to burn in the fish. And then because there's still visible oil, as we all would expect, I used pastels to color the fish, using a fine spray of workable fixative at each level. I was then able to sand around to remove the fixative, hand apply with a brush a shellac covering on the fish, then go back in and Murphy oil the platter itself. And her fish looked better than my fish, so now I'm a little sad. But nonetheless, I'll get to visit it in Hawaii.
That was a lot of work to protect the fish, but I love the way it goes across that rim. That's a really neat idea. Thank you. Peter Travis, the man who's been so busy here. We'll see more of his work in a few minutes, but Peter, what do you have to share?
This is some redwood that I picked up from the club outside one of the raffles, and I decorated this one with dogs. And the decoration, I use my laser engraving machine, and very quick, very easy, and it came out quite nice. And yeah, this is some more dogs. Can you hear me okay?
We can, yes.
Okay.
That's it. But if we go into Beads of Courage, which is our next section, Peter stays around because he's the first there. The Beads of Courage, Peter, you've been awfully busy.
Yeah, don't tell my wife that. She thinks I'm messing around in the garage.
Hang on, we'll have your piece up in a second.
Yeah, this is one that I did with birds. This again is the redwood that I picked up from the school outside for the raffle. And it's, you know, the finish on it is so-so. But it came out quite nice with all the different birds on there.
You're still on,
Lots of different pictures. We probably want to just scan through these, and you stop us, Peter, if there's one that you want to comment on.
Yeah, this is one I did with maple, and I was quite pleased with the designs that came out on it. It took me longer to do the coloring than it did to do the designs on it, but it came out quite well. When I gave it up, then I was kind of reluctant because it looked nice and my grandkids wanted it. again, I use the the laser engraving machine. I'm lucky I've got a really decent one, so it works out well. This is the dogs again, and cats. This one I did with butterflies, and it was some elm that Jim gave me our last sale of the Corral, and he gave me some elm, and I thought, well, I've never tried it, so I'll give it a try. And this was butterflies that I did.
Thank you. You have been busy, and if you need defense with your wife, have her give me a call. John, what do you have?
It's an open segment box. The green is food coloring. And when I had turned it and sanded it down and applied the first coat of water-based Varathane, it pulled a Rudy Giuliani on me and ran. So I had to apply, ended up applying 4 coats of the Varathane using a pipe cleaner folded in half. It gets in there very nice. And you can see in the end grain, it gets sucked up of the cells that transport. And on the side grain, it makes a nice straight, clean line, which is neat. The beads of courage, white thing, beads of courage, 13/16 spade bit or Forstner bit makes a hole that you can press the bead into. It works really nice. And
13/16?
13/16, yeah. And then people have asked me, well, what are you thinking, man? The beads are going to fall out through those holes. And I'm thinking that beads of courage probably does want beads small enough that a kid can stuff up their nose or in their ear, or worse, become a choking hazard. So that's the holes that are the spaces are 3/16. And I can't imagine a bead that small being given to a kid because of the risks. So.
That's an excellent point. I have no clue what the smallest size on those beads are. Larry Batty, are you still around, and can you comment on that, or do you know what the smaller diameters of those beads might be?
I don't know what the diameter is, but I had asked about open segmented, doing open segmented, and they said they didn't think it was a problem as long as we kept the gaps, not too wide. So I think that's fine. And a lot of them put them on some kind of lanyard anyway. So, and John, that's interesting. The food color, never heard of that. I'd like to hear more about that sometime. Really nice job.
Thanks.
John, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Peter Nakatani.
So that's obviously a Beads of Courage ball. As most of us are, I think I'm material challenged, something that's going to be that big that's not segmented. But John Lawson gave me a piece of, I think it's sequoia, because it looks like redwood, but doesn't smell like, at least, hardware store redwood. So I think it's sequoia, maple top, and carob handle. Poly finish.
How did you do the lettering?
CNC. And then filled with paints and epoxy.
Feel limited not having a CNC machine. Thank you very much. John Langdon. John, we need your microphone unmuted.
Okay, I'm sorry. A friend of mine owns a business, wood installing business, and he gives me all of his new scrap woods for flooring woods. And so I take advantage of it most I can. And this was very challenging. The lid was challenging on my part because I'm familiar with the segment turning on a 15-degree angle like that. So overall turned out very well. And that's it. That's up. Oh, never mind.
Appreciate that. The problem with the pie-shaped pieces coming together, is where the points hit. And because you have a knob stuck in there, you've eliminated that difficulty by drilling a hole there, I presume, right? That's not glued onto the surface.
No, I did drill a hole in there, but I was pretty accurate on there. I could have gotten by with just the way it was without the knob, because I have to admit I had a lot of wasted experiment doing that.
What is the dark wood?
It's walnut, and then the light wood is oak, and the bottom piece inside is cherry.
I see. Great. Thank you. Very well
Okay.
done. I had one piece, and this is redwood burl. That's out of that sale that we had a few months ago, and with a fitted lid. Nothing special about it, other than the fact it takes forever to finish something like that, specifically in the winter when you can't dry a coat of finish in one day. So this is probably 8 inches in diameter, with a fitted lid. So no big thing to that. Just a pretty common bowl. The beads of courage is on the inside of the lid, which I failed to show you. It's but the 13/16 Forstner bit is something I need to know that. So I have a new way of putting them in. Hugh.
This is my second bowl. That this is made out of ash, and the colored wood is African Badook, and it's pretty. And the bead is on the inside. And I did use a Forstner bit to use that, and I did manage. I had to enlarge it just a little bit to get the bead to cushion. But anyway, because I didn't have a 13/16 Forstner bit, but I used the one slightly smaller. So. Anyway, that's it.
Hey, thank you, John.
Yes, what we have here is I have red oak base all around. Then I have purple heart, and then the dark here. I got this piece of wood years and years ago from the flat wood, and I think it's dyed oak. It's a gray color, and it actually come out pretty good too. I was surprised. And the bead is on the inside. And what everybody's talking about, the 13/16, it is a tight fit. So I take a parting tool and just enlarge it just a touch to get the bead in. But then I take my Dremel tool and mess up the back of the bead, and I epoxy it in. I mean, who knows what these kids will do with it if they pop it. And that I sanded it down to 12,000, and I got 4 coats of wipe on poly.
Nice piece, John. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see who we got. Oh, Carl. Thank you.
This one was made the same as the first one I did. I don't like wasting a lot of wood, especially the camphor wood. So I sliced it off on my bandsaw and then cored it out on my Ringmaster, and that gives me anyway, it's made of camphor wood. Dimensions are 7 by 8. It's got a maple ring, maple top, and then the camphor bead. I finished it with varathane. It's been a lot of fun making them.
Thank you, Carl. So we're going to finish up with the guy who has been responsible for getting us started on this beads of courage program.
Jim, I got a second one here.
Oh, I thought this. I beg your pardon.
This one I made a square box. It's made of figured redwood, maple on the corners, maple for the plugs, maple for the top. And I finished this one with lacquer. And the dimensions on it is 8 by 7 by 6. That's it, Jim. Take off.
Sorry for cutting you off like that.
No, that's okay.
The Satoyance in that wood was just gorgeous on that box.
That,
by the way, guys, it doesn't have to be round. This is perfect. It's a beautiful piece.
My uncle worked in Crescent City in the mills for years up there, and he said the mills, they couldn't sell figured redwood to anybody in the Home Depots because nobody wants it for their deck. So he had all kinds of, he gave me a pickup load of it. And over the period of years, I've managed to use a lot of it.
I'll remember you.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very much. Larry, it's fitting that he's concluding this session because the beads of courage are due to him driving us in this particular direction. And I'm delighted to have him close out this section. Larry?
Thanks. Hi, everybody. If I can talk real quick about the program, I'll make it real quick because we have the new members, and welcome to all of you. If you want to find out more about what the program is and how to proceed, the information's on the front page of our website, and you can email me or call me. Email is probably more efficient, but you can call me too. And if you need logo beads, like you've seen in a lot of these pictures, I'll send those to you too if you give me your address. I want to compliment everybody on what I've seen today and what I have sitting on my dining room table. You saw my stairs, I think. We made our first donation this last week to John Muir in Walnut Creek, and I'm going to bring more to UCSF this week. Dave Fleisig was real good about getting me in touch with some people there. And Dave, I'll call you when we're done here. We can talk about that. I know you had some questions, but Dave's been real helpful. So thanks, Dave. This is my little bowl that I made this month. I've been doing segmented because I don't have a piece of wood that's big enough to make a bowl, but and I decorated. You there's 4 quick pictures here, 4 or 5, all the way around, and colored it with some Fabra something or other pencils that are dye based, I believe. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for participating and making this so successful. We have to this point about 30 boxes and the promise of probably about another 20, and yeah, it's a big deal. So it's not me, it's all you guys. I'm so impressed with the work I've seen, and I've learned a lot and gotten a lot of good ideas from you guys. So thank you all very much.
Well,
Larry, I would ask Larry how he did the top with those black dots on top.
That top originally was for another box, but it didn't go well with it. So that would happen to fit. As I was making it, I made it fit, but that's just a carving tool, a round mini carving tool. And when I did it, it burned a little bit, but I went back with a burner and kind of darkened it up. The wood, that it's maple just like the body is, but it's a lot darker for some reason around the outside.
Nice. Very nice.
Thank you.
One of the other ways to create black spots like that is to take one of the carving burrs, a fine carving burr, in a power carver, run it at high speed, and just force it into the wood. One of our famous instructors in that area has shown that it'll burn every time by overdoing it. Wow. Wow, what a great picture.
Larry also sent some pictures of the collection of bowls so far. So
yeah, we have a few more since I took this picture. So if yours isn't in here, that's why. Some really nice stuff though, really nice stuff. So really appreciate it.
Larry, are we getting any donations from the Diablo woodworkers yet?
I haven't heard from them yet. I talked to Dante a few times, and I know they're interested, and I think they're doing some work, but I haven't heard from him lately. I don't want to bug him because he has a business, and I'm sure he'll contact me when he's ready. I kept the table and I kept the stairs. So
it was mentioned in last Tuesday's Diablo Woodworkers meeting, and I guess they're working on it now.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So Dante basically said that he's ready to like announce to the Diablo Woodworkers to do such things, and I think rather than, well, I don't know. But yeah, we're about to announce that the project is going.
Well, that's great. Thank you.
Might be useful to have some of these pictures, Larry, specifically of those square or rectangular pieces to send to Dante, he could show those up in your next, their show and tell, and to kind of show people what a Beads of Courage piece might look like.
I think I sent him some pictures from the internet. But yeah, I'll mention that to him if he wants them. I'll surely, I'll send them to him.
Okay. Thank you, guys, everybody. Great work. A
Or
lot of
maybe
effort.
send them to
and it's
Jeff.
beautiful to have that.
Gives them to everybody.
What's that?
Send them to Jeff for the woodworker deal that he sends out to everybody.
Well, I had talked to Jeff originally, and he put me in touch with Dante. So
there you go.
Thank you, though.
Okay.
You know, I have to say that when I heard Beads of Courage with woodworkers, I thought, so you're making round beads out of wood? Because I belong to the Society of Glass Bead Makers, and for Beads of Courage, we do glass beads. So
you do?
it's nice to know that you're giving these children boxes to put their beads in.
Well, if you get a chance, maybe email me. I'd like to talk to you more about that. I'd like to know a little bit more about the beads. So if
Okay.
you'll find my email on the front page
Of the website. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.